Welcome to the Landing Strip with Nick Lynham and Mikey Garcia, presented by From Financial.
Welcome back to the Landing Strip, presented by From Financial. On a night you're not even going to get Grumpy Nick. From my perspective, this was a perfect Winnipeg Jets hockey night. They go and give the home crowd another sold-out crowd. Probably their best effort of the season with how that game plays. And they still find a way to lose. The tank rolls on. We get a quality hockey game against a good opponent. We see the Jets actually shut down guys like McDavid and Draisaitl most of this game. A lot of good stuff to talk about within this one. And we still get the tank rolling. I'm excited to see where the chat's at. I'm excited to see where Mikey's at. Mikey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, and there's only one way to start this show, so let's hit it.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here.
Man, every day that tank rolls on, the draft gets a little bit closer. It'll soon be here is right. I hope you're all singing along at home every time the Jets go out and find a new and fantastical way to lose a game.
When do we start seeing some tank for McKenna or Ivar or Verhoff or whoever your pick is in-house? I think in 2026, it's time to fill the barn with some of those signs with where this is going.
Oh, absolutely. We're hashtag vibing for Verhoff. You know, that's going to be the that's my approach anyways right now.
Hey, the chat is buzzing. I'm looking forward to getting into it. But first, Mikey, what's your big takeaway leaving the Winnipeg Jets versus Edmonton Oilers game?
You know, these games have gotten kind of fun now, and I got a couple small takeaways coming out of this one. First off is, man, 2025 Winnipeg Jets making backup goalies look like bona fide starters. You had fringe backup goaltender Calvin Pickard out there today, making the Jets, look at all these homegrown Manitoba guys just tearing them apart lately. It's got to be hard to see. So that made me laugh. Again, a backup goalie just going absolutely ham on the Jets. But for like an in-game thing, it was interesting that both teams really did kind of stick to their game plan all night. The Jets were determined to force the Oilers outside and try to limit the amount of chances, especially on those top two lines. And the Oilers were fucking dead set on working their way back to the middle, getting down low and trying to find offense that way. And it was interesting to see them both kind of go head to head with their game plan and see who came out on top. One team had some brain farts that they've been prone to all year long, and the other team didn't.
Ain't that I don't agree with that, actually. I got some takes on the Oilers tonight, but I'm going to shout out someone in the chat. The king of rage baiting on hockey Twitter, Mike Bartner, joins the show. Hey, Nick, first time, long time. This team is cooked beyond belief. And hey, you keep spreading the message loud and clear to the general hockey audience. We need the Winnipeg Jets to get embarrassed by a more national stage, because little shows like this just don't do it enough. So Mike, keep going at Chevy. I like what you've been doing. But he has a question. Does Jonathan Toews go from hometown reunion to maybe getting traded this deadline? And all I got to say is, if there's a team stupid enough to give you any sort of value for him at the deadline, send it my way. Send me whatever late round pick it is, please.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to move what might be the worst performing player in the National Hockey League by any statistical metric right now. So if there's somebody willing to do it because they also want to sell some Taves jerseys, cool. But I doubt that's happening.
I might send it there. I might send other teams. I might just spam them the tape from this game with the chances he got, despite the fact none of them were being buried. We might have to start some Taves propaganda. But taking it back to what you were talking about off the hop there, I saw this one a little different than how you explained it. Because I saw a team today that really did dominate the Edmonton Oilers at 5-on-5. Special teams, they don't get on the board, and that's the difference in this one. We know this team can't score at 5-on-5. For them to get a single goal at 5-on-5, and the fact it didn't come from the top line is an accomplishment for this program at this point. But the one thing I do disagree with, because obviously, especially, the stand turnover costs the Winnipeg Jets.
Yep.
So I see what you're saying there. But my big takeaway with Edmonton today was, especially someone that's kind of cheering on this tank a little bit, and I might have dabbled on the puck line on this night in Edmonton's favor. They were very careless with the puck. I thought they were a lot more turnover prone, and I thought the Jets got some great chances off of it and somehow couldn't beat Calvin Pickard. I thought the Edmonton Oilers were actually a lot more mistake prone, and the Winnipeg Jets couldn't bury. But hey, them not scoring has been a big part of this season.
Yeah.
No surprises.
No,
This was the perfect game.
It's been what we've seen. Scott Arniel was pretty adamant that this has been their best 6 periods, these last 2 games for the Winnipeg Jets, and it's hard to argue that, right? Hard to argue the effort and the opportunities that they've been getting. But at the end of the day, they just don't have enough to put themselves over in these tight games the way that they did before. So, yeah, the ethical tank rolls on.
Today was the definition of an ethical tank. And I see the tank combos are happening in the chat. Let's dive into this game a little bit, but we will do a tankathon lottery sim to end the show. I know we missed it last show. Frosty has a good idea that we're going to hand out a tank award each loss moving forward. But let's get into the nitty-gritty about this hockey game today. Let's start with the goods. What did stand out from the Winnipeg Jets' perspective? What did they do well to control a game like that against the Edmonton Oilers?
They came in with the right type of game plan, I think. They really wanted to make sure that the opportunities that Edmonton was going to get were going to be from the outside. They're going to be farther back, and they want, Hellebuck to be able to see. So I'll say the game plan was the right game plan to attack, this team. They played the matchups as well as they could at home. I'll give them those 2 things there. And like you said, on a night where Edmonton, especially at the beginning, right, those first 10 minutes, Edmonton was pretty sleepy. The Jets weren't, which, again, that's been a criticism all year, of the Jets falling behind, especially on the shot clock real early. So, they've been able to kind of correct a few of those things that we identified early on in terms of like the game plan or the quote-unquote process. That is much more in tune with what we've seen the last couple years with the Jets. So I will say that. I'll give them that. They definitely had a game plan. They stuck to it, and it was decently effective against a pretty sleepy Edmonton Oilers team.
Yeah, for me, what I saw today was that defensive structure was genuinely intact. They didn't give up as many quality of looks as we've seen when this team's been at their low points. I thought they did a really good job of handling Connor McDavid, who's 32 points in his last 12 games, something like that.
Yep.
You saw Barron go stride for stride with him and rub him out on that play. There was a Cole Perfetti play in the first period. There's the Dylan Samberg diving stick, who I thought we saw more of the Dylan Samberg I fell in love with last year.
Yeah.
In this game. That was the version that I've put on such a pedestal. He was jumping up in the plays, turning plays over, taking it up the ice. He sets up Taves on that one early on. I thought this was Samberg's best game. I thought you saw it, especially with those first two pairs. The third pair doesn't have the capability to do it. But I thought this was a game where Josh Morrissey and Dylan Samberg were jumping up into plays and causing a lot of dysfunction for the Oilers. And then when they got careless with the puck, like there were so many, what would you call, blind passes from the Oilers that ended up going the other way, and the Winnipeg Jets couldn't take advantage of. Like this was a game where the top line, I think, got 3 odd man rushes off Oilers' mistakes, and they only got a shot on goal on one of them. That was the rarity in this game compared to games past. But I thought the defensive structure was intact. I thought they did a good job of pushing the play when they turned it over. But hey, to win games in the National Hockey League, you're going to have to score more than one goal on Calvin Pickard, who is hanging on to an NHL job by a thread right now.
Yep.
And he looked like prime Hasek tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what the I don't know where he got those abilities from, but yeah, he goalied the Jets, like you said, where he's holding on by a thread to an NHL spot at the moment. It did feel a little bit though like the Jets were willing to give up a little bit of that secondary chances, that secondary offense around the net to make sure they were cheating back to try to cover up for any type of breakouts coming the other way, to give themselves that ability to put themselves between, the Oilers forwards and Connor Hellebuck as much as they could. So I think there was a lot of maybe perimeter shots and, things coming in at Pickard, and not a lot of the crashing the net, getting in down low, especially with the, most notable time it happened with Barron and Lowry that come away with a goal, right? So it's it's a perfect storm, I feel like, to make a backup goalie look great.
It's funny, me and Mike Friesen, same brainwaves today. In that second period, I thought it was awfully important that they scored on that third power play, and they didn't. But I was sitting there watching that game, and Mike Friesen says, basically the only difference between this year and last year is losing Ehlers and replacing him with Taves. I actually was watching that game today, and I thought this was a game where, with Nick Ehlers in the lineup, we're probably looking at an early 1-0, 2-0 game.
Yep.
With how nonchalant I found Edmonton in this one and what they were giving up the other way. This was a night where they could use a game breaker, like the man that left town. A few other things though. Let's start with Twitch. Choices TK says, in any other market, someone would have been fired by now, coach, assistant, or GM, something instead of, well, it is what it is. We'll get into some of that as the show goes on, as it sounds like it was another tough post-game presser out of Winnipeg.
Yep.
His takeaway is also, tell me if you've heard this before, Jets played well, but key mistakes lead to another loss. And I think that's the big thing. I think it should be expected at this point. If they play like that at every game I'm at, and they blow it like that, I think I'm winning here.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting the ways that they're finding to lose these games. It's kind of different every night. They're still putting in good efforts. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, though, is the organization learning the wrong lesson over these games, seeing the good effort, the good battle, the opportunities, all of that, and going, well, we just need to dive in deeper this year. We just need to spend that first round pick and bring in
They're not.
I'm worried that they're going to learn the wrong
Not a
lessons and still try to scrape at it, because even in pregame today, when they asked Scott O'Neill what needs to happen between now and the Olympic break, his answer was, well, we need to be back in the fight. We need to really gain on these teams that we're chasing. We're still in this. We're still pushing for that playoff spot. And I wonder. I'm a little bit worried that they may learn the wrong lesson from these last two games.
I will promise you, and I'll quit the show and you could find a new co-host. That's how confident I am. They're not moving their first round pick this year. Don't even lose sleep about that one. Don't even worry about that one. If Vancouver wins tonight, we're talking about the 32nd place hockey club. I know they are stubborn and think that they're better than they are. I know they're pretty dumb lately. It would be a whole other level if they were to pull that.
All right. You're going to put me at ease then. I'm hoping.
I'm
right.
telling you. I do want to go to Pomerlane's comment, though, because it was one of my takeaways in this one. And Pomerlane says, did you all see it? How the Oilers' two best players were on, wait for it, separate lines. And it's not even that. It's part of it. But it is so stark to sit at an arena when you're used to watching a hockey team roll lines like they're like a 7-8 team. You can't get creative with matchups. You can't throw your offensive guys out there at different times trying to find a spark. Remember the playoffs when Mikko Rantanen would play fourth line shifts, and we talk about it, and they were finding Mikko Rantanen soft spots on the ice.
Yep.
I think what is so stark watching the Oilers and how their bench is managed, McDavid and Draisaitl are split up most of the game. And guess what? It's such a foreign concept to Winnipeg, but an NHL coach is actually able to get them both out there for offensive looks throughout the game.
Bananas.
And still load them up after penalty kills. Guess what? You're seeing McDavid, Hyman, Draisaitl you're allowed to do that to get creative with your top players. This is the NHL. We're watching a team that's gone to 2 consecutive Stanley Cups, and I'm still getting people arguing with me in Winnipeg that Connor and Scheifele can never be split up. The differences in in-game management are so clear and so stark that it feels like we're not even talking about the same hockey league.
Yeah, it's right in his face, right? Like, you have it in your building in front of you. You're having to adjust to those matchups in real time, and you still can't see that it's a good idea. Even again, in his comments at the end of the game, were fairly telling on the idea of it coming from a change to that top line. Spoiler alert, it's not.
Never.
It's not coming at all. And he told us pretty much again today in his post-game comments. It's insane to see it happen right in front of your face and have no idea how to deal with it. But there's between that, his inability to know when to pull a goaltender and has no idea how to manage overtime. It's some of the coaching holes in Scott Arneal's arsenal are starting to show through.
Let's bring you some more peace, though. Nicholas at Night says, and the best thing is, Nick, the org probably looks at this game as a great performance team. No need to do anything, which means the tank keeps rolling.
Roll on, baby.
I want to go somewhere else, though, because I think there's a bit of a misconception growing in the fan base, and I want to talk about it. I thought this was a really great night from Morgan Barron and Adam Lowry's line. Those two continue to really work well off of each other. Morgan Barron had another 2 net drives that just don't sneak their way in, and then he gets some space, sends it in for a rebound. Adam Lowry bangs it in. On the night, those 3 played 9:21 together at 5-on-5. They outshot the shot attempted 14-5. They outscored the opposition 1-0, and they ran an expected goals of 87% plus. And what I'm seeing as I'm watching this and looking to hype up the Morgan Barron Adam Lowry duo is I'm seeing a lot of the market start using that play as a bombarding the Morgan Barron 2C conversation. And I think this is getting a bit skewed here. So I want to talk about this. Obviously, it's been something we've talked about on the show in the past too as well. At the end of the day, since those two have joined together, if I'm not mistaken now, every game but one, they've been the NHL Jets' second line by minutes. Morgan Barron is being played as a second liner. It's not as a center like everyone's calling for, but the Adam Lowry, Morgan Barron group is the Winnipeg Jets second line. The reality we all got to come around here. No matter how someone decides to list the lines, those minutes are what matters. Who is playing those minutes is what matters. And we're seeing something really good develop from Barron and Lowry that I'm like, why do we want to see this switch up? I think it's such a short-sighted way to look at roster management because you're actually getting the opportunity you're wanting from them alongside Adam Lowry, which is working. And I just want to bring that up tonight because it's very confusing to me when I'm watching those two actually play real well together since they've been joined. Their coach is rewarding them with second-line minutes. I'm still seeing the calls for second-line center Barron. The blunt reality about the Winnipeg Jets situation, unless they split up Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele, they don't have an NHL second line. They don't have an NHL second line.
Yep.
It's a bunch of guys. And the guy everyone wants to be rewarded has been. I think it's time to come to that realization because it's been pretty consistent of late. And it's been well-earned and well-deserved.
I agree with you in principle on a lot of it. My kind of slight pushback on the couple spots, one would be, so first off, I do agree with, Barron should be playing with Lowry. They make a good combo. They produce well together. So I am completely in favor of it on that side. I guess to play devil's advocate a little bit, yeah, they played second-line minutes tonight, but if you look at what Taves played overall between the slight swapping of the wingers, he only played like 20 seconds less 5-on-5. So it's not really a big jump, right? And if we're looking at the way that the Jets have structured things, they don't want Lowry to be the second-line center for some reason.
I disagree.
They are dead set on the Lowry line being the, quote, shutdown line. I don't know. That's why they brought in Taves and tried to pay him the money to be there, right? If they had believed Lowry was the guy, I don't think we'd be in as much of a weird spot with the roster as we are. I think they want him to be the third line center for some reason, even though
They've
don't
never
agree.
wanted that.
That seems to be the way that they've always structured it, though, right? Even when they've had Nemestikov playing more minutes than him in the past and things like that, it just, I don't know.
You're remembering wrong, buddy. Mike Friesen nails it, saying it's been like that for years. Lowry's line has been the second line for years. It's been one of their biggest problems come playoff time. Is Mark Scheifele's line is an all-offensive forward line, and the second line in minutes is a no-scoring Lowry line. That is one of the biggest reasons they have lost 11 straight road playoff games. I was doing the math on this the other day. In their last 9 playoff road games, Scheifele's missed 2 of those of 11, so I didn't count them. Those have been your top 6 most played lines for most of the last 3 years. And on the road, Scheifele's line gets hard matched and has been outscored 6-3, and they've lost every metric battle. And then Lowry's line does well on the underlines, but they've only scored 1 goal in those 9 games. That is the epitome of where the Jets have gotten themselves in trouble.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can understand why people see it that way, right? The way that the Jets list the lines, the way the Jets talk about the lines, it gives the impression that that Lowry line is, quote unquote, a third line, and they still want a second line, quote unquote. So I can understand people wanting to, especially Barron, who, like you said, right, is playing well, is doing these things, so they want to see him get rewarded, without realizing that the only reason he is doing as well is they found a really nice pairing between the two that play well off of each other in those type of matchups. So I can understand where it's coming from. I was one of those people, a week or two ago, before you pointed out, like, hey, take a look at the lines, or take a look at the minutes, see where those actually the opportunities are coming from. So I can see where they're saying it, but I do like it better now. The Lowry Barron combo it fits so well, and is again a prime example of why we wanted to see Connor on that wing too.
On the Taves thing, though, I actually think him playing as much as he did is once again Arneal seeing reality playing out in front of him. This was one of Jonathan Taves' best games in Winnipeg. Yep. In his 10 minutes and 31 seconds, in their minutes, outshot attempted their opposition 19-5, expected goals 78.5%. He had 3 scoring chances himself. I look at that entire situation as set up as another positive for Scotty Arneal, understanding what's happening in the physical game we're seeing. And then in the third period, he goes to Iafallo, Taves, Perfetti, and they outshot attempted their minutes 8-0.
Yep.
I think he read this game properly, and I thought we saw one of the best games from the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you can't argue with that effort and that amount of drive. It just they didn't get the points that they wanted.
Barnes, 1995, gets it wrong, saying biggest issue in the playoffs is Hellebuck. I will argue that to the death. That is not the Winnipeg Jets' biggest issue, and if we keep leaning on that, you're missing the bigger problems. Frosty Winnipeg does ask on the Barron stuff. Everyone else has been tried at 2C, so why not give a chance to Barron, who's got 7 goals in 31 games, playing primarily a defensive role, in which Al Camino also says those guys are 30-point players. That ain't a second line. At the end of the day, I think Al nails it, and I kind of said it already. Unless they split up the big two, there is no real second line in Winnipeg. Morgan Barron is currently playing second line minutes on Lowry's wing. It is working. I don't see the value add to breaking those two up so Barron can play 2C and bump Lowry down when it's been the collective duo driving that group.
Yep.
And the other side that I don't really see is I've seen some people kind of saying like, oh, try Barron at 2C so you know what happens, what you have for next year. I'm just going to put it bluntly. If Morgan Barron's this team's 2C next year, start watching Landon DuPont. That's a hell of a prize at the end of it. Let's keep it somewhat into context. I think this team has been so bad, and Morgan Barron's been a great bright spot with the work ethic, the offensive flair at times, the motor constantly going. I do want to keep it into context a little bit stronger here because he has been rewarded. We're seeing good results out of it. and it doesn't necessarily have to be up the middle when he probably is not the answer moving forward anyways.
Yeah, if it looks like it's 8 of the last 12 games he's played second line minutes. That is the promotion, right? That is the reward. And yeah, he can't play. You don't want him taking a second line center spot from whatever 37-year-old we're going to sign this offseason. So we got to make sure we keep that open.
I do like this point from Neil DeBeck. Taves has looked good since the Christmas break, almost like he's old and needs a rest once in a while. Do you think the 5-day break has helped the older legs? As I think he isn't popular, and I get why. But I think we've seen some Gustav Nyquist juice lately. Is that 5-day break helping the senior citizens of the Winnipeg Jets?
Absolutely. There's no question, right? We've talked a lot about Taves up to this point and how it feels like, the brain is still working at the right speed. It's just the body can't keep up. So if he's had some time to rest, put those feet up, get relaxed, and heal up a little bit, it absolutely would make a big difference. The question will be, how do the next 5 weeks look before the Olympic break happens again?
Yeah, we'll see what happens, because we know the grind's about to take off again.
You know what's interesting? In other sports, you get talk of things like load management. But in the NHL, that's just seen as, he's been press boxed, he's been demoted, he's been kicked out of the lineup. Can't believe what a disrespect and da-da-da-da-da. Whereas basketball or wherever, they're like, yeah, it's like soccer's the same way. It's load management. He's not going to play every single minute, every game. He's not going to, whatever the situation is. But we have this weird thing in hockey where it feels like, you can't even suggest that. You're going to take Taves out of the lineup like that? Oh, that's a veteran. That's disrespectful.
I'm getting called out by John Chan. Nik giving us a moral victory with Taves' rest.
Hey, look, this is the team of moral victories. We're putting up a moral victory banner come next season, all right? Nobody's got more effort and more opportunity than the Winnipeg Jets.
Hey, the Winnipeg Jets are going to have NHL history falling so far after a President's Trophy. You got to take the moral victories. And on a night like today, where I watched them genuinely dominate Edmonton, Taves probably played his best game in the NHL this year.
Yep. And
the team still lost. I'm going to talk about it a little bit.
Can't ask for a better result.
You can't. Nicholas on 8 says, yeah, Gustav has the juice. All right. Lean made with NyQuil instead of codeine. Hey, we're at the point. We're flipping into 2026. I will hype up our mid depth to find a buyer.
Yep.
That's what this is all about at the end of the day.
100%.
Let's move in to the From Financial Faceoff and then open up the phone lines tonight. What was the difference in the Winnipeg Jets versus Edmonton Oilers game tonight? And also, we're going to use this time to hand out the first annual Tank Award. So what's your From Financial Faceoff? And who gets the Tank Award on this night? Let's get into it.
Let's hit it. Right on. We'll be opening the phones. 1-204-800-0409. 1-204-800-0409. Get on the line and give us a call. Let us know your From Financial Faceoff and your Tank Award for tonight.
Mikey, what is your From Financial Faceoff on this night? And is there a play, person, or event that's going to get your Tank Award?
So my From Financial Faceoff is something I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. I feel like the Jets really gave up a lot of their offensive opportunities and some of the secondary chances they would normally be trying to pick up because they were cheating a little bit on the defensive side, trying to keep themselves between them and the Oilers forwards to make Hellebuck's night a little bit easier. So I understand the game plan. I get it, and they executed it pretty well. It just I feel like that's where they lost that chance to really try to find that second goal with them not having the type of talent right now where you can have one guy outside of that top line go out and try to win it for you solo. You need those dirty, greasy, in the crease secondary chances, and I just feel like we weren't going to get those tonight outside of the one we scored on.
And you got a Tank Award?
Oh, right. Tank Award. I mean, it's going to be a little bit obvious and not that creative, but it's that Logan Stanley play. Just absolutely lost for that few seconds. You could see the eyes glaze over. One of his big issues always is identifying where the danger is actually coming from in that moment. It takes him that extra few seconds to kind of process what's happening around him on the ice, and tonight was a perfect example of that happening. So shout out to Logan for the big brain fart to make sure we didn't get the 2 points in this one.
Yeah, it's safe to say over in the chat, Turd Ferguson, his big stand gets the tank award for the pass behind Helly. Matt Rothman, tank award to Stanley for getting away that first goal in such a Stanley way. Colin Hall has it as the tank award vote goes to Arneal for keeping those two stars together, again, for no reason. Though I want to touch on Nicholas's at night's point on that one as we get further into this. For me, I think the From Financial face-off, if you're going into the obvious spot, it's Calvin Pickard deciding he's Dominic Hasek while his NHL career is hanging by a thread in his hometown in Manitoba.
Yep.
But I'm also going to go with the specialty teams. The Jets had 3 power plays to get ahead of this game and not chase the deficit. And it felt like that third one was going to be crucial. They don't capitalize on it. Then they started playing with fire. Even the shift before the Stanley thing, you see Taves turn it over at the top of the zone and a 2-on-1 go the other way on Luke Shen that Edmonton doesn't capitalize on. The next shift, you see the Logan Stanley play, who I had a former teammate say they would have trusted any defenseman in the local MMJHL to not make that pass. It was that bad.
Yeah, that's hard to argue.
Hey, I'll say this. Stan's getting the first annual tank award, and I'm getting challenged to meet up for fistfights over calling him out for that play on Twitter. We're so back, baby.
We're back. You're the Neil Pionk of tonight. You're gonna go out there and throw down, baby.
Who had Neil Pionk versus Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on their bingo card?
Where the fuck is everybody getting all these bingo cards? And you guys got to fill them out better. This is crazy. Nobody has anything on them. It's bananas. But no, that's insane. I did not expect Pionk and the Nuge to be going at it right like that. That was fun to see. See, I want to say that is the exact type of fighting that I am okay with and love in hockey.
Oh, yeah.
That is the right way to do it. That should be the only type of fighting we see. I never want to see these old fucking sluggish guys going out there asking for these fucking staged fights because that's the only way they get to keep their paycheck. I hate that shit. I loved the way that this went down today. Shout out to Pionk and the Nuge for that. That was great.
Yeah, no. That's one of those ones. You get the animosity going, and actually a couple players that mean something, scrapping. Like the trade-off, too.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the chat's thoughts on the From Financial Face-Off, though. Cranberries has it as Pickard suddenly being awesome. Ain't that the truth? Some of those saves he made today, I still can't believe it.
Unreal.
Matt Rothman's From Financial Face-Off is Edmonton's depth can actually score multiple goals when the top dogs aren't at their best. We saw that today.
Yep.
Hasn't always been true in Edmonton, but on this night, it definitely was. Colin Hall's From Financial Faceoff. Dylan Sandberg is back, baby. And future Winnipeg Jets star Gavin McKenna hat trick tonight. Oh, didn't even see that.
Ooh, shit.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Blake G. Tank award goes to the Jets for making Pickard look good and validating Bowman and his terrible goalie decisions. That's one perspective on it.
Yep.
The Silver Scrubs from Financial Faceoff is the Jets' best offensive players not being elite, yet still being talked about and treated like they are. 55-81 are nowhere near the realm of 97-29, yet get talked like they are. Again, remind me, I want to go back to Nicholas at night. He's got 2 points I really want to dive into at some point tonight.
Okay.
The scout look from Financial Faceoff is Moral Victory signing UFA line A in the offseason. No idea why this came to mind.
Oh, that's good.
Caitlin Doucette's from Financial Faceoff is Jack Roslovic costs less than half of Nyquist.
I was excited to get to here. J.R. Roslovic with the revenge game. My future Hall of Famer. I'm so happy to see it.
Sitting all alone in the slot in the power play and rips.
Yep.
Nicholas at night from Financial Faceoff. Phyllis arguing earlier in the season that the Jets having Hellebuck was on par with having both McDavid and Draisaitl. The tank award from Tico and Apolli goes to not breaking up KFC and 55.
Yep.
Nicholas at night's tank award goes to the Jets team coming out to play hockey. Blake G's tank award goes to Chevy for drafting a C with a first, forcing him into a fourth-line winger, and then out of town just to burn you on the PP. I'm talking about 28, folks.
Yeah.
Though I would have loved if Chevy blinked on trading him to Ottawa for Mark Stone. He was too valuable for the current and the present and the future of the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember that? That sounds great.
Palmer Lane's from Financial Faceoff is Chevy has failed as a GM of this team. Anybody still defending him is in denial. Tico and Apolli. Oh, that can't be Pionk's first. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' 6th career fight, Pionk's first. Pionk's definitely scrapped before, no?
I will check right now.
He's definitely scrapped. Kevin K. from Financial Faceoff. Barron playing with confidence, even with his limitations, is still fun as hell. And that is something I do think when you're watching such a miserable season. You do got to find the bright spots and find areas in the game that are going to still keep you excited moving forward. I think Morgan Barron's been one of them.
Yep.
I think Logan Stanley's goal tracker is one of them. Other than that, we're stuck in a lot of unfortunate realities, but there's some stuff to kind of pick out there.
And it's his first of the year, but yeah, he's had many fights. He's had 1 last year, 1 the year before, 3 the year before that, 2 the year before that. So yeah, he's got a couple here and there always.
Barnes points out Stone wouldn't have re-signed in Winnipeg. Have that on good authority. I've also heard the same, but when you can turn Rozovic and Sami Niku into a real chance at another cup when you're missing a play driver like that,
it's not like
he would have been such a big boost to that team, man.
It's not like Niku and Roslovic are here right now anyways. What are we talking about? Who gives a shit? That would have been still a better trade.
It would have given them a better chance at Kevin Hayes.
Yeah. God. 4th line Kevin Hayes. That was fun.
But I do want to go to Nicholas at night because I do think there's some real truth to this. He points out that, don't forget, a couple of years back, we were like 1 game away from having the biggest second half collapse in NHL history, and mentions it's in the Winnipeg Jets' blood. He also says, I know this has been touched on, but it's a fucking problem if the org is letting Scheifele and Connor dictate who they play with. It basically means you can employ a mop as a coach. Gutless stuff from the organization. At some point, that's got to change. And it counters what Colin had said about the tank award going to Arneal for not splitting them. Those are realities in their past. And I'm at the point, I don't even think we've seen the darkest stretch yet, despite coming off of 2 quality games.
Yeah, this is why I said I'm worried, right? That they're going to learn the wrong lessons from the quote-unquote good effort the last couple games. It feels like it's going to, even if they're not buying, but it's going to cement their unwillingness to even have the conversation with those 2 guys about not playing together. It's tough, right? Because even when they asked Arneal in the post game about, the secondary scoring, Lowry got off of the slide today, but there's still a whole bunch of guys who aren't scoring, and how do you get them going? His response was that the players have to find a way to get yourself out. Your teammates can't help you. But if you put in the hard work and then you find a way to do something a little bit different than you normally do, maybe you can find a way to score a goal and make a difference in a hockey game. And it feels like him so heavily putting that emphasis on it's individual issues across everybody else. It's everyone else's problem, not the top line. They're not there to help you. We're not splitting them up. Do something you normally wouldn't do, which is ironic considering that he won't do that exact thing.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to get there because it also leads me into, hey, Leslie, there is a bit of a leak that came out tonight, and I saw Al Camino had gotten there early. Someone at my door. I don't know if you guys saw, but on the Fanatics website, it was leaked tonight that there is going to be some Nick Suzuki Team Canada merch available. We know 55 has been competing with the likes of Celebrini, Suzuki, Wilson, Horvat, and there was going to be limited spots. Celebrini will be there. If this leak that Fanatics put out is accurate, Nick Suzuki will be there. I believe Tom Wilson will be there. Where are we on Mark Scheifele with the Olympics, as that was probably the last game before the team gets picked that we saw him with Winnipeg?
Yeah, I'm getting real nervous about my early season prediction of Scheifele guaranteed to be on there.
Where we can.
Oh, you've lost a little bit of focus there. Maybe it's some bit of lighting or something like that.
Continue with those, sorry.
But yeah, my prediction of Scheifele getting in there early to start is not looking so great, especially if now I will say I don't know if I'm totally sold on the idea that this is a quote unquote leak. In terms of it being like they've been given information ahead of time of who's going to be there. Those type of companies need to have mock-ups on a lot of the players that are expected to go or that are, being thought about, because if you do have it, when you do have it announced, you want to have everything ready, right? You don't want to be trying to make mock-ups up at that point. You don't want to be getting other stuff in place. So it honestly could have just been that those were the placeholder images and postings that they had ready to go in case of when the things get announced. But that might just be me, wishful thinking and hoping that he does still get on there. But if it is the case where this was like they have some type of advanced notice on who's making the team, like it's not a bad choice if you're a Team Canada fan, right? Suzuki is absolutely deserving of that spot. It just sucks if you're hoping for Scheifele to be there.
Yeah, I think reading the tea leaves, I don't think he's going to be there. Cranberry points out 55 seemed really down during the pregame interview. I was at the rink, didn't catch any of that. I don't know if you did, Mikey.
Yeah, but no more than any of your players that have from the Jets when they've been doing interviews lately. Everybody sounds like they've just put their cat down.
If I'm right on the three guys, the one argument I'd make is I think Tom Wilson should have been there last year at the Four Nations. I don't think Tom Wilson with Olympic rules will go so well. And I'd rather Mark Scheifele for him.
This is what I've been kind of wondering, and I felt like I've been maybe taking crazy pills because of the love that he gets, especially on like the national media and stuff.
And he's a great player.
He's a great NHL player. I am not trying to take anything away from Tom Wilson's game or the evolution of his game these last few years. I just don't understand how at the Olympics, where that physical side of things is so diminished, is refereed differently, is not as important, why we've placed such a premium on his ability to be tough and to fight and to throw the big hit, when that's not really what goes on at these tournaments, and is more likely than not going to end up getting a call that we may see as quote unquote weak if it's in the NHL, but is kind of in line with international hockey. I get the Wilson love in terms of his play in the NHL. I just don't understand the automatic he has to be there on Team Canada type of thing.
Yeah, that's just where I'd fall. I think Tom Wilson is great, and he's going to get hyped a lot. I just think with the Olympic rules and how much tighter the rule book gets, I would rather Mark Scheifele there.
Yeah. The other question I have, if so say the Olympic rosters get announced, Scheifele is not named to the team, Connor is, that all happens. Do you think there is any chance that the reason they've been so adamant on not breaking the two of them up was because of the Olympic run that was going to be coming? They know that they play the best together, trying to get those two guys onto those spots, and that if it comes out now that he's not making it and they don't go, that we finally get the breakup. Is there any chance of that? Do you think? No. Okay. I just wanted to check. Just wanted to ask.
It's become a cute narrative for people to push back on me with. But unless they've been preparing for the Olympics for 3 years, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
Not buying it.
I guess the argument could be that the results were there last year, so it gave them the cover to not do it. With the results not being there, does it maybe give them that chance now that the carrot of no Olympics is gone? But again,
2
I
years
doubt
ago,
it, but-
we saw one of the top 5 lines in the NHL in Gabe Vilardi, Nick Ehlers, and Mark Scheifele.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle Connor got back, and we never saw it
went
again
back. I forgot about that.
in
Yeah.
Winnipeg.
Yep, no, you're right.
There's more to this story, and we have to keep hammering it. There is no excuses for it.
Yep.
And I found this interaction in the chat funny. Caitlin Doucette says, "What are the odds? What are the odds he downs Tool, and we fall into complete oblivion if he doesn't make it?" And Cranberry said, "Are we already not in complete oblivion?"
Yeah. How much farther can we go down?
Tico and Apolli's thoughts are Olympics is the only chance of seeing KFC and 55 on separate lines. Colin Hall points out Suzuki was drafted with the Jets draft pick that year too. I don't believe they would have taken him if they kept that pick though.
No,
I'll just put that out there.
he wouldn't have been on their board.
Rain points out McKenna is going to look so nice in Navy, and no more chatter about the playoffs, more draft prospects content, please. We'll be getting into prospects in the future as the calendar turns over in 2026.
Yep.
Our New Year's Eve stream, we're going to go through the roster, and if you're here for it, we're going to have everyone's take on what to do with each piece of the Winnipeg Jets roster.
Yep.
Going into 2026, very curious to see where that goes. Al Camino wants to know, is 55 going to insist on McKenna plays with him? Definitely. Tico Napoli says Wilson may thrive on that small ice surface, but you do worry about the penalties. That's my biggest concern, honestly.
100%.
I like this take from Blake G. Says, my thought on 55 is that he can create off the wall and protect the puck, which would benefit 97 greatly. And we saw it at Team North America. Neil Dubeck says it's going to be so fun watching McKenna on the Moose for 6 years.
God. I don't want I don't even want to think about it.
Caitlin Doucette wants Scheifele over Suzuki or Wilson, but if they go with Scheifele, Suzuki, and Wilson over Salbrini, the entire Team Canada needs to be fired. There's a nice wrinkle to this conversation.
Yeah, that would be insane to leave Celebrini behind at this point.
And Cranberry points out, there's a history of KFC in 55. We won them split last season. We've wanted them split for a few years.
Yep.
I like this take from Jordy, though, too. And it's never happening. But he does say, if 55 throws a tantrum and quits on the team because he doesn't get on the Olympic roster, then he should be traded.
Would never happen, but I don't disagree.
True. Neil also points out, if anything, not splitting them up only hurts Shife's chances of making the team. They never seen him play with anyone but KAC.
Ooh.
And I do. This is something I thought with the Four Nations stuff last year, because I didn't see Mark Scheifele as a bad cut last year, despite the points. That line was getting hammed almost nightly. And if you're an NHL management team picking a Team Canada and you're watching that, you're watching the guy you're looking at play most of his night in the D zone. I do think the fact they don't get split and you don't see them driving without each other like you see on virtually every other NHL team, I do think it hurts their perception a bit. I really do.
Yeah, they probably viewed it as, well, we're getting all of these points, all of these goals, we're doing so well, right? They kind of maybe bought into the counting stats argument, and kind of didn't take that step back to see the whole forest, because I totally agree. It kind of it just makes a bad perception about you across the league a little bit, right? If the narrative is that you refuse to play away from your other player, and then you never get to see what they look like in different situations. So yeah, that's a good call.
I think it's fair. It remains a big question mark around both players.
Yep.
The fact we're still talking about it being a question mark when Mark Scheifele's 33 and Kyle Connor is 30 is crazy to me.
Well, they're just
Crazy
kids.
to me.
They're still just kids. Come on, that's the youngins.
Blake G and Jordy both agree with the idea that they would leave Mark Stone off of Team Canada. Watching Four Nations, he got exposed. They needed to move up point into his spot. And with that spot of the roster, that's where I think Seth Jarvis fits really well.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of a Winnipegger torch being passed from two-way defensive right-wing studs from Mark Stone to Seth Jarvis. That's where I'm at with those two, honestly.
That's good. Yeah, I like that.
Hey, sometimes I have some good ideas. Sometimes I have some good ideas. I heard on the broadcast, I want to ask this about the Olympics. I heard they had Josh Morrissey as a maybe
Yeah.
and Bouchard as a guarantee.
On the
What
broadcast.
do you think of that
yeah.
take around the Olympics?
I had a good laugh at that. That felt like comments from people who have watched way more Edmonton Oilers games than they have Winnipeg Jets games.
Yeah.
That's just really what, because it's crazy when you like to say Morrissey would only be a maybe comparatively to Bouchard being the lock. That's, to me, that's absolutely bananas and not indicative of the current play this season.
No, I agree. For me personally, I'd have both of them as
Yes.
locks, but I don't think Bouchard will be there. I think the risk tolerance is a little high. I would have him there in case Makar goes down, like the Four Nations aspect. But the idea that Josh Morrissey was a fringe player on Team Canada when he's the second best D-man in Canada at this point in time,
Right.
kind of surprised me when I saw that was being talked about.
Yeah, that made me do a double take during the broadcast. But again, that just felt like a offhand comment.
It was an interesting one. It got brought to my attention, and I was a little surprised by it,
Yep.
especially with the fact that Josh Morrissey played such a big role at Four Nations, and
Yeah.
Bouchard wasn't even invited.
Yep, like it's
a weird one.
absolutely insane to suggest it, and comparatively, right?
Yeah, didn't understand that one. Where do you want to go with this one? Is there anything I've missed on this night?
Lowry 800 games and a goal tonight, so good for him to celebrate the milestone. Fourth Jets player to get a point on his 800th game in Winnipeg.
That's a nice little stat.
Yeah.
No, game 800. They did a little video in-house and showed him on camera. It also reminded me that Adam Lowry playing 800 games, I felt pretty old seeing that a little bit.
Right.
We were having a conversation today, and even people that I think have given Chevy a lot of the benefit of the doubts are kind of coming around. And it came to the realization that I was 15 when the Jets came back. Cheveldayoff has been around, my favorite hockey team, half my life.
Oh no, don't say
It's
it.
crazy.
Don't say that. God, that makes me feel real old. I remember having to ask my boss to leave work on the day that the team got announced. I had just
I remember blowing a provincial exam, and there was like the half hour you had to be there.
Yep.
I just wrote bullshit. I knew I could pass either way. Got the half hour mark and grabbed a cab and got over there.
I had just started a new job. I'd only been there not that long. And I remember going to my supervisor going, "Hey man, and he's like, "I heard the thing on the radio this morning." He's like, "You want to leave?" I'm like, I do want to leave right now." He's like, "Go ahead, get out of here." And I fucked straight off to the Forks. It was awesome.
The scout look points out usually only away players score in Winnipeg for milestones.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was that. Who was the guy that scored the first goal there? That was his first of the season.
Yeah. That's what we do. That's what the Jets are the remedy for that this year, it feels like.
Cranberry points out, surprised by all the 55 slander in the chat. Despite the tank season, he's been good this year. I think this has been his best year in the NHL, which is crazy at his age. Truly do buy that. And call me crazy, I do think he would be good without 81 on his line. I do too.
Yeah.
This is why we harp on it so much, because I do think the Winnipeg Jets can create two scoring lines by having Kyle Connor a bit sheltered on a second line, but still as the focal point of that group. And the way Mark Scheifele is playing hockey this year, 100% he could drive a line with Kyle Connor. And that's what's so frustrating about it all, because he won't let it happen. And I think it would actually make him shine in a different light because of it.
Yeah. It would showcase the leadership role. It would showcase his ability to kind of understand the situation at hand. the fact that last season we wanted a split up of that line, mostly because they weren't doing all that well together from a, underlying metrics standpoint. So we were like, hey, maybe we break that up and, we move things. Maybe we put, we had those type of thoughts. This year, it's the exact opposite, right? They're playing really well. And we think that they could also play well apart from each other to help the rest of the roster out. It's, the fact that we want them broken up has nothing to do with, negative thoughts about Scheifele, slander on Scheifele. It's legitimately because they're playing the best they've ever played, and we want to see that love spread out.
And Barton does point out, which takes us back to another combo. It's not crazy. We've seen it. 27, 55, 13 was a fucking wagon.
Yep.
Best line we've seen.
Yeah.
In NHL Jets 2.0.
Yep.
And we got 20 games of it, and we're never allowed to see it again. We weren't allowed to see Connor go a line down and play with Perfetti or anything like that, despite having the best line. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Caitlin Doucette also does say on this topic, I don't doubt Scheifele would be. It's 81 I'm worried about. And kind of telling when that's the guy you paid $12 million for. I know where I stood on that one. Still feel like I was right.
I
but
feel
that's
like
besides the point.
Between the play that we saw last season out of Connor for stretches and some of the stretches we've seen this year, I feel like you've got a shot at giving him some decent line mates on a second line and some pretty good matchups that I think it would work. I wouldn't be overly worried about it. It's not going to be. He's not going to be the one to go out there and just completely, probably dominate the line with two scrubs. Right, I don't think that's in Kyle Connor's game, but I think in the right situation, he can still be the main focal point on a line and be productive.
Yeah, a few more takes on this, and then we'll get into the three stars and get out of here tonight. Al Camino says, and not splitting them up for so long probably cost an extra $2 million AAV on Connor's deal. Like that perspective.
Yep.
Nicholas at Night says it also does highlight why a guy who was drafted with the Org's first ever pick didn't get to see after Wheeler left. Did he learn a little too much from the Blake Wheeler days?
Yeah, yep.
Caitlin Doucette says he likes playing with Connor because he likes how predictable he is, which has been always the thing.
Yep.
Our favorite little autist 1C. gotta be used to those little things.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's move into the three stars.
Let's hit it. Right on.
Who do you got for your 3 stars on this night?
All right, so for my number 3 star, I'm going to swap the order that I had them in initially. Third star, Morgan Barron. That guy never gets off of his horse. He is flying all the time. At the moment, outside of the top 3 is probably your best Jets forward. Hard to, second line Morgan Barron at that. So I'm going to give Barron my 3rd star. 2nd star, I'm going to give it to Lowry just for the goal, just for the 800th game, just for finally getting the goalless streak put to bed a little bit there. And my number 1 star, he's the Tank Award winner for the night. He made sure that we didn't have to have 2 points put up and get farther away from our real goal, which is vibing for Verhoff. The 6'7", number 64, Logan Stanley, number 1 star. Thank you for keeping the tank going, my guy.
I'm going to go 3rd star. This was his best game. This is someone I put on a pedestal last year. This is the version I want to see from him. Dylan Samberg, looking like that defensive rock and jumping up into the play offensively. Like to see what we saw from Dylan Samberg tonight. 2nd star, I'll go Morgan Barron. Continues to get on his horse. Continues to give people something to be excited about in Winnipeg this year. And 1st star, I got to go with the Manitoban, Calvin Pickard. There's no one better on the ice than Calvin Pickard today. I don't know if that's ever been said in an NHL game.
There's a first for
about
everything.
Calvin Pickard. There's a first for everything. Want to thank you all for being here post-game.
Gonna hit the tank.
Thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you. What is it, Wednesday now?
We've got Wednesday's the next game coming. Did you still want to do the tankathon?
Oh, hey, yeah, we got to do a tankathon.
I ran it
Let's
here.
roll those orders.
All right, let's pull it up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Dropped a spot to 4th.
I'll take it. I like how we're at the point where we drop a spot and we're still in the top 4, baby.
Still in the
This
top
is
4.
what I'm
Drop a
talking
spot.
about.
No, not acceptable. I want that top 2. I'm vibing for Verhoff.
Oh, you know it's gross when St. Louis and Chicago both jump, though.
Yeah. Oh, I
That's
don't want
not
St.
what we
Louis
wanna
getting
see.
that second pick. That's terrible.
Yeah, no, we don't want them. No, they might butcher it.
That's true. They're not great at this.
And as we leave tonight, let's see if there's an update on the Vancouver game. Is there an update in Vancouver? Is that game still going? 2-2, end of 2. So if you're tuned into this show, we would like Seattle and Vancouver to go overtime, and we want Vancouver to win. That would put Chicago in 32nd, Winnipeg in 31st, and it would add ground to chasing Seattle, and Vancouver would jump us. Team Tank, let's have a big period and maybe some OT out of the Vancouver Canucks.
It's a big ass gagging for the Canucks, but let's see what they gave us. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.